Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real. A man will never come out and say it. His pride won't let him. But deep down in places he doesn't talk about, you are still his weakness. He'll smile in public. He'll laugh with his friends. He might even post a picture with somebody new. But don't get it twisted. He can't let you go. See, here's the difference. When a woman loses somebody she loves, she feels it up front. She cries, she hurts, she grieves, but then she heals. A man, oh no, a man runs, he runs to distractions, he runs to other women, he runs to anything that makes him feel like he didn't lose. But the truth is, he did, and the silence eventually catches up. Those late nights when the noise fades, that's when regret gets loud. And you know why he can't let go. Because you were just somebody. You were his peace. You were his safe space. You were the one who saw his flaws and loved him anyway. You gave him loyalty, respect, and support that money can't buy and games can't replace. A man might find company, but peace, that's rare, and once he's had it, he never forgets it. Now, he may never admit this to you. He may never send that text, never make that call, never confess, "I lost the best thing I ever had." But his actions will show it, the late night scrolling, the random like on your picture, the way he lingers when he sees you shining. That's his silent confession, so don't let his pride fool you. He can act strong all he wants, but deep down, baby, you're unforgettable and he knows it. You were his safe place, ladies. Let me explain something to you. Every man out here walks around with armor on. He's got a mask, he's got walls, he's got a defense system built so strong you'd think he was at war. Because society tells men, don't cry, don't show weakness, don't let anybody see your pain. So he spends years learning how to look tough on the outside while he's carrying storms on the inside. And then you came along, and for the first time he could take that armor off. For the first time he didn't have to be Superman. He could just be a man. That's why you were his safe place. See, you were the one he could talk to about his fears without feeling judged. You were the one who could look him in the eyes when he was broken and still make him feel like a king. That's powerful, that's rare, because out there the world don't care about his struggles. His boys won't listen that long. His job don't care about his emotions. But you created space for him to breathe. You gave him something money can't buy and other women can't fake. You gave him peace, and here's the thing about peace. Once a man experiences it, he can't forget it. He can try to move on. He can try to fill the void with distractions, but nothing compares. That's why even when he acts like he doesn't care, deep down you're still on his mind. Because you weren't just another relationship, you were his safe space. That's where he laid down his pride. That's where he let his guard down, and men don't forget where they felt most human. He'll never tell you this because it would bruise his ego. He'll pretend he's good, pretend he's moved on, pretend he's stronger without you, but what he won't admit is that the comfort you gave him, he hasn't found it again. And that's what keeps him tied to you in ways he can't explain. He can buy gifts. He can chase fun. He can date around, but peace is irreplaceable, and you were peace, think about it. Why do you think he still lingers around your social media? Why do you think he still pops up in random ways, still tries to keep tabs on your life? It's not just curiosity. It's not just habit. It's because you represented a space he doesn't want to admit he misses. You weren't loud. You weren't chaos, you weren't drama, you were calm, you were his shelter, and here's the kicker. Men don't often recognize the value of their safe place until it's gone. When he had you, he probably thought this is normal. This is what love is supposed to feel like. He may have even taken it for granted. But now he realizes that not everybody will love him through his flaws. Not everybody will create a sanctuary where he can lay down his burdens. That's why he can't let you go even if he wanted to. Ladies, don't ever underestimate the power you had. You weren't just part of his life. You were the one place he could rest, and rest is priceless. That's why he's restless now. That's why he keeps replaying you in his memory. He may never admit it, but losing his safe place shook him more than he'll ever say. And that's you. That's the hold you still have on his heart. You knew him better than he knows himself. Ladies, let me tell you something that a man will never admit, but he knows deep down is true. You saw him in a way that even he didn't see himself. You knew his moods before he could name them. You picked up on his fears before he ever confessed them. You recognized his dreams when they were still just whispers in his spirit, and that kind of connection that doesn't fade. It doesn't vanish, and it sure doesn't get replaced by the next pretty face he runs to. That's why you still linger in his mind, 'cause you knew him better than he knows himself. See, men are complicated in one sense, but simple in another. On the outside, he'll act tough, act carefree, act like he has everything figured out, but inside he's often confused, battling insecurities, trying to figure out who he really is. And when you came along, you saw straight through the performance. You looked past the jokes, past the ego, past the surface, and you said, "I see you." That's powerful because not many people take the time to see beyond the mask. And once a man has experienced that kind of vision, he can't forget it. You knew when he was lying to himself. You knew when his silence meant he was stressed, when his anger meant he was afraid, when his ambition was really covering up self-doubt. And while he may have acted like he didn't need your insight, trust me, he leaned on it. He needed it because you gave him language for feelings he couldn't even describe. You gave him clarity when his own mind was cloudy. That's not something he can find just anywhere. And here's the part he'll never say out loud when he's with other women. They don't rate him like you did. They take his words at face value. They believe the act. They don't dig deeper. And that leaves him frustrated because once you've been fully known by somebody, surface-level relationships feel empty. He may not admit it, but he's hungry for the depth you gave him. He misses the way you could tell he was lying, even when he swore he wasn't. He misses the way you noticed the small details, the way his tone changed, the way his energy shifted. You read him like a book, and baby, he hasn't found another reader like you. And I'll tell you this, sometimes a man doesn't want to be fully seen because it's uncomfortable. It's vulnerable. It exposes the parts he'd rather keep hidden. That's why he might have pushed you away. Not because you weren't valuable, but because you knew him too well. You saw the parts of him he was still running from. And that's scary for a man who's not ready to face himself. But even if he ran, even if he left, that doesn't erase what you gave him. He carries it. He feels it, and in quiet moments he misses it. Because at the end of the day, every man craves that one person who gets him without explanation. That's what you were. You didn't need a manual. You didn't need him to put on a show. You simply knew. And that's why he can't fully move on. He can find company. He can find fun. But he can't find another you. The one who knew him better than he knows himself. You raise his standard, ladies. Let me tell you something about men. A man can play around. He can date casually. He can keep it light all day long. But once he experiences a woman who truly loves him, right, supports him, pushes him, and makes him feel like more than what the world says he is, his whole standard changes. And that's exactly what you did. You raised the bar for him, and the truth is, once a man has tasted the best, average just don't hit the same. He can try to downgrade, but deep inside he'll always feel the difference. That's why he can't let you go. See, you weren't just a woman he dated. You were the woman who showed him what partnership really looks like. You were the one who encouraged his dreams, not just nodded along. You were the one who challenged him to do better, not because you were nagging, but because you believed in his potential. And here's the thing, belief is rare. The world tears men down every day, but you lifted him up. You reminded him of what he could be when he didn't even believe it himself. That kind of love stays with a man. Now, let's be real. Sometimes when a man gets that kind of love, he doesn't know what to do with it. Immaturity, ego, or fear might make him think he's not ready, or maybe he takes it for granted. But even if he walks away, that standard you set is now burned into his memory. Every woman after you is measured against the way you loved him, the way you supported him, the way you demanded respect without begging for it. And guess what? Most women can't match that. So now he's stuck comparing even if he swears he's not. That's why men circle back. That's why months, even years later, you get that random, "Hey, stranger," text. It's not because he suddenly discovered something new. It's because the relationships after you felt shallow compared to what you gave him. You didn't just give him company, you gave him substance. And once a man has substance, he can't go back to snacks. He might try, but it won't fill him the same. Ladies, never underestimate the power of raising the standard. Because when you require a certain level of respect, when you bring a certain level of energy, when you love at a certain depth, you're not just changing the relationship, you're changing the man himself. He may not admit it, but you've set the bar for his future. And now, whether he likes it or not, that bar is higher. And let me break this down. When a man realizes he fumbled a woman who raised his standard, that regret cuts deep because he knows he had something real, and now he's out here trying to replicate it with somebody who just doesn't measure up. He'll never say it 'cause pride won't let him. But inside, every argument he has with somebody else, every moment he feels unsupported, every time he notices the lack of effort, it reminds him of you. It reminds him of what he had and lost. You didn't just raise his standard in women. You raised his standard in life. You made him want to be better, do better, live better, and that's not something a man forgets. He may walk away, but he'll always carry the mark of the standard you set. And that's why he can't fully let you go, 'cause deep down he knows you showed him what it really feels like to be loved. And nothing less will ever satisfy him again. Your glow keeps growing. Ladies, let me break this down for you. One of the hardest pills a man has to swallow after he walks away from a good woman is watching her glow up. See, when he left, maybe he thought you were going to fall apart. Maybe he thought you'd be crying every night, checking his social media, waiting by the phone. He thought he had that much power over you, but instead, what happened? You got stronger. You got wiser. You started focusing on yourself. And slowly but surely, your glow started to grow. And now it's undeniable. That glow is the very thing that keeps him from fully letting you go. See, men have a fragile thing called ego. And when they see you doing better without them, that ego takes a hit because he expected you to crumble, not shine. But when you started leveling up, when you changed your energy, when you upgraded your look, when you got busy chasing your dreams, suddenly he realized something. He realized that maybe he wasn't the source of your happiness. Maybe, just maybe, you were the source of his. And that's when the regret creeps in. Your glow is more than just looking good. It's the confidence that radiates when you know your worth. It's the peace that shows on your face when you've stopped begging for someone's attention. It's the joy that comes when you fill your own cup instead of waiting on somebody else to pour into it. And let me tell you that glow. It's magnetic. Everybody notices it. Friends, strangers, new people in your life. And yes, even him, he sees it, he feels it, and it bothers him because deep down he knows he doesn't get to be the reason for it anymore. That's why men try to circle back when they see your glow growing, not because they've suddenly changed, but because they miss the version of themselves that existed when they were next to you. They miss the pride they felt when they could say, "That's my girl," but now, baby, that glow belongs to you and it's no longer tied to him. You learned how to shine on your own, and that scares him. Because when he left he thought you dim, instead you got brighter, and let me tell you something real. Your glow exposes his mistakes. Every new achievement, every smile, every win you post, every upgrade you make is a reminder of the fact that he lost someone valuable. It's like holding up a mirror that says you had this and you let it go, and men don't forget that image. It haunts them. Because while your glow is growing, his world may not have changed all that much. He might still be chasing the same habits, stuck in the same cycles while you're out here elevating, and that contrast eats at him. The beauty of your glow is that it proves you never needed him to shine. He was just part of your journey, not your destination. And now that you're walking in your purpose, investing in yourself and showing up with strength and grace, your glow is unstoppable. That's why he can't let you go. He's not just watching a woman he used to love. He's watching a woman he underestimated, and that stings in a way words can't describe. So understand this. Your glow is not revenge. It's revelation. It reveals who you truly are, or when nobody else's shadow is blocking your light, and that glow, it's only getting brighter, and no matter how hard he tries to move on, he'll always remember. You didn't just survive without him, you thrive, and that glow will forever remind him of the best decision he didn't make holding on to you. His ego won't admit the lost, ladies. Let me tell you something about men. A man's ego is like a suit of armor. It's heavy, it's protective, and it's designed to make him look untouchable. But here's the truth. Underneath that armor, there's always a man who feels, who hurts, who regrets. The problem is his ego won't let him admit it. And that's exactly what's going on with him right now. He knows deep down he lost something valuable when he lost you. But his pride won't let him say it out loud. See, men are taught from day one not to look weak. Don't cry, don't confess mistakes. Don't let anyone know you messed up. So when he fumbled you, instead of saying, "I blew it," he put on a show. He pretended like he was fine, pretended like he moved on, pretended like you didn't matter as much as you did. But let me break it to you. Those smiles, those posts, those late-night distractions, they're a cover. Because when the noise dies down, he feels that emptiness. He knows he lost someone rare. His ego just won't let him admit it. And here's the kicker. His silence doesn't mean he's not thinking about you. In fact, silence often screams the loudest. He won't text, he won't call, because the moment he does, he has to admit he misses you, and his pride can't handle that. So instead, he sits in the shadows, watching from a distance, replaying the memories, wishing he could swallow his pride, but refusing to. That's the battle men fight between the heart that wants to reach out and the ego that refuses to bow. And ladies, don't get it twisted. His ego is not bigger than the loss. No, the loss is bigger. That's why he can't fully let you go. He's living with the tension of knowing he gave up someone who raised him, supported him, believed in him, and loved him in ways he might never find again. But to admit that means admitting he failed, And a man's ego hates failure more than anything. So he'll walk around acting unbothered, but deep down he's bothered. Deep down he's wrestling with the fact that he let the best thing in his life slip through his fingers. You know what makes it worse. Watching you keep growing, watching you glow up, watching you walk in confidence, watching you be happy without him. Every time he sees that, his ego takes another hit. But instead of confessing, instead of saying, I should have done better, he'll double down on the front. He'll tell himself stories like, she wasn't the one, or I'm fine without her. But those are just excuses to protect his pride. His heart knows better. His heart knows he lost, and here's the truth about men and ego. Sometimes they don't admit the loss until years later. They'll carry it quietly, hide it behind achievements, bury it under distractions, but it doesn't go away. That regret lingers. That memory of what you brought to his life stays tucked away whether he says it or not. And sometimes the very reason he can't let you go isn't because he thinks he'll win you back. It's because admitting the finality of losing you means facing a truth his ego isn't strong enough to handle. So yes, his ego will keep him silent. His pride will keep him acting like he's fine. But don't be fooled. His silence, his distance, his act of strength, it's all a mask. Because behind that mask is a man who knows he lost a good thing, and while he won't admit it to you, and maybe not even to himself, that loss is the shadow that follows him everywhere he goes. You taught him what real love feels like, ladies. Let me put it plain. There's a difference between somebody liking you, somebody wanting you, and somebody truly loving you. A lot of men out here think they know love because they've had attention. They've had affection, they've had fun, but that's not love, that's convenience, that's chemistry, that's temporary. Real love is steady, it's patient, it's sacrificial, it's intentional, and that's what you gave him. You taught him what real love actually feels like. See, most men don't even realize how rare that is until they've lost it. Because when you were with him, you didn't just love him when it was easy, you loved him when it was hard. You didn't just cheer for him on the mountaintop, you stood with him in the valley. You didn't just love the version of him that looked good. You loved the version of him that was still growing, still figuring himself out. That right there is real love, and once a man experiences that, every other version feels watered down. You showed him love wasn't about possession, it was about partnership. You didn't just want his time, you wanted his growth. You didn't just want his presence, you wanted his purpose. You prayed for him, you poured into him, you spoke life over him when the world was speaking doubt. That's not just affection, that's ministry, and let me tell you something, men don't forget that. He can try to move on, he can try to replace it, but what you gave him was soul food, and fast food can't compete with soul food. And here's the truth. When a man gets that kind of love and loses it, it leaves a mark. That's why he can't let you go, because deep down he knows you gave him a version of love most people never experience. You taught him that love isn't chaos, it isn't games, it isn't constant drama. Love is peace, love is security, love is accountability. Love is two people building something bigger than themselves. You were his example of that. You were the one who proved it was possible. Now, here's the crazy part. Sometimes a man doesn't recognize it in the moment. He thinks this is normal, this is how it should be. But the moment he steps outside of it, the moment he tries to find it somewhere else, that's when he realizes the truth. Not every woman will pray for him. Not every woman will cover him. Not every woman will push him higher when life tries to pull him down, and when he realizes that the memory of you becomes even stronger. So yes, he may act like he's moved on. He may put on a front like he's good. But deep down, what keeps him tied to you is the fact that you were the one who taught him what real love feels like. And once a man has felt real love, everything else feels like a cheap imitation. Deep down, he knows you were the one, ladies. Let me tell you something powerful. Every man has that one woman who leaves a mark so deep he can't shake it no matter how hard he tries. He might date around, he might entertain distractions, he might even settle with somebody else, but in the back of his mind, there's always that quiet voice reminding him she was the one. And whether he ever admits it or not, deep down, that's exactly how he feels about you. See, men don't always recognize the one in the moment. Sometimes immaturity, pride, or fear blinds him. He gets caught up thinking the grass is greener somewhere else. Or maybe he convinces himself he's not ready for the kind of love you offered, so he fumbles it. He walks away or he pushes you away, but here's the truth. Time has a way of clearing vision, and the longer he's gone, the more he realizes just how rare you really were, because you weren't just a good woman. You were his woman. You fit him in ways nobody else did. You knew how to balance him when he was off. You knew how to calm him when life got heavy. You knew how to celebrate him when he won and encourage him when he failed. You gave him something beyond chemistry. You gave him connection. Connection like that doesn't fade. It doesn't disappear. It lives inside of him whether he wants it to or not. And let me tell you why. He'll never fully let go. Because every relationship after you becomes a comparison. He won't say it out loud, but he'll measure new women against you. How they listen, how they love, how they show up. And time after time, he'll come up short because what you gave him wasn't average. What you gave him was divine alignment, and he knows it. Now, his ego may not allow him to confess it. He may never come to you and say, I knew you were the one and I blew it, but the regret will follow him. It'll show up in the late nights when he scrolls your pictures. It'll show up when he hears a song that reminds him of you. It'll show up when he sits next to someone else and feels the absence of the depth you carried. That's the silent burden he'll carry, knowing he let the one slip through his fingers. And ladies, that's why he can't let you go completely, because in his heart he knows no matter where life takes him, no matter who he ends up with, he already met the one and it was you. Ladies, let me wrap this up for you. If there's one thing I need you to take away from everything I've said, it's this. Your worth doesn't disappear because a man couldn't recognize it. His confusion does not lower your value. His absence does not erase your shine. If anything, his leaving just exposed how strong, how powerful, how resilient you really are. Because here's the truth. Deep down he knows you were his safe place. He knows you understood him in ways no one else ever will. He knows you raised his standard, and now every woman he meets is being measured against you. He knows your glow keeps growing, and it burns his ego every time he sees it.